Okay, what we got today is br600 cam gear replacement. Actually, it's the crank gear, the gear that's for the cam, just meshes up with the cam inside the engine. So as you can tell, it's kind of chipped up in places. I actually keep a few of these. I pull them off of old cranks if they're in good shape, so I'm going to replace this. It's kind of tricky. So what I do, it's got my gear puller here, Harbor Freight. Works fantastic. I've used it hundreds and hundreds of times. Go through a quick assembly of this guy. This is a little deeper than a lot of people may want to go. I don't change these things a lot. I have had them. I don't know how. The cam gear on the machine is actually plastic. So here's a cam right here. This is for a br600. It's plastic, so I don't know how it damages a metal gear, but sometimes I guess you have some shrapnel going through the engine and it gets between this gear and this one, and you know, damages the metal gear somehow. I don't know. It happens. Not a lot. I also use the same exact tool to remove crank bearings. Same process, really. In order to take these off so that you could save them, I'll usually take a bad crank that's got a good gear and I'll grip it behind the bearing and I'll pull both off together. That way I don't have to put this clamp onto the gear because it seems to round off the inside of the gear itself. So try not to do that. So in this case, I want to save the bearing, so I'm going to clamp it right under the bearing. And as you can see, the way this is tapered, that if you lock down these nuts, you're going to damage that gear. So again, if you have a bad crank, you want a couple of these as a spare, you just grab the bearing and pull them both out together. So it's a Sunday morning. I think it's around 6 or 7 a.m. I don't know. This is what I do when the rest of the family is asleep and things are nice and quiet. Come here, get some quality garage time in. Just a little bit. Try to come down on the middle of the crank, like so. Now the easy thing to do here is just grab an impact, but I try to work it off gently. If something seems to be hung, I'll grab the impact. But this one's coming off fairly easy. I can feel it moving already. Nice and easy. Just like that. Okay, here's the gear. Important thing to note. If you look at the gear, you'll actually see that's a little higher on this side. This side is flush with the gear itself. This side's got a little spacer. The spacer goes in toward the bearing. Very important thing to remember. So, yes, my garage is a mess. We've been over this in other videos. It usually doesn't look like this, but I'm in the middle of painting, sanding and painting the house. That's what all this crap is for. I didn't mention, but this is the puller from Harbor Freight. Pittsburgh Automotive Gear Puller Set. Works great, it's cheap. I'm not a professional mechanic, so I don't need a snap-on. That cost me about 10 times the amount. Does the job I need it to do. Got a bag of gears in here somewhere. That's going to be the last bag I pull out. Here's some extra cam gears. There we go. That's what I'm looking for right here. Used gear. Good condition. All right, use that one. Now, try to remember what I just told myself here. Told you guys. That spacer goes in toward the bearing. There's also another trick too. If you notice, you get flashlight so you can see. There's some writing on the crank. And see this little Stihl symbol that's right before the word Stihl and the trademark are? That little symbol. What you do is you line up the top of that tooth. It aligns with that symbol. And that's real important because on a 4-stroke, you also need to consider timing as part of the things that an engine needs to run. On a 2-stroke, it's just compression, spark, fuel, air. On a 4-stroke, it's the same exact list, except you have to add timing. So timing is critical for a 4-stroke engine. If the crank and cam aren't in the same time, you'll never start it. If you're not too far off, you'll end up backfiring back through the spark plug. But you'll never get it running if the timing is off. So I'm trying to close one eye and just align that gear. But here's how we put it on. Hammer. Impact socket. Make sure I have this lined up again. Turn on the light so you can see. It's a little bit off right now. Okay. The top of the tooth is lined up with the symbol. That's what I want. Make sure that gear is seated against the bearing, the spacer, and it is. Make sure the tooth is aligned to the symbol, and it is. So it's all set. That's how you replace a crank gear that meshes with your camshaft on a br600 engine.